Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. The Arsenal attack is changing and it's very clear it is changing for the better. Mikel Arteta has been complaining since the beginning of this campaign that the team is a little bit lightweight. It lacks options and it lacks qualities in the final third, especially effectiveness. Now, this summer, Arsenal are looking to bolster the attacking options with the likes of Nico Williams, Naipan, and the likes of Sane all being linked with a move to the Emirates Stadium. So in this video, let's delve into what is changing, what are we adding, and especially what is Mikel Arteta really targeting in this summer. What does he want? Does he want pace? Does he want goals? Does he want effectiveness? What are we getting in this summer? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know in the comment box below. I mean, you've watched Arsenal whole season. We've had problems, mid-block problems, low block problems, and a couple of others. I mean, transitions as well. Which is Arsenal's biggest problem in attack that we have to solve? Is it pace? Is it creativity? Is it Arsenal not having enough options in attack? What is the problem that you have seen that Arsenal have to work on in this summer? Now, it's no longer a secret that Arsenal are looking to add a couple of options, and some of these players are really real options. I mean, Arsenal have already started talks and a lot of groundwork has been done on some of these deals. That includes Nico Williams, who is a top target for Mikel Arteta and as well a top target for Arsenal as well. Victor Gyokerez is a top target for Andre Bata. Wanted to sign him at Atletico Madrid. He's coming to Arsenal and he has convinced everyone in the club that Victor Gyokerez will do a very good job at a very good market price of around 60 million euros to 70 million euros. Leroy Sane is another one that Arsenal are looking to add to the squad. Could be a free agent. If he doesn't continue with Bayern, Arsenal are waiting to pounce on the German international. But then there are also others that we have not been linked with for a long time, like Naipan and Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons and Naipan are both attacking midfielders, and this is the effect of Andre Bata. Him coming in and saying, listen, if you're going to sign a striker, you're going to need to service that striker. You're going to need to have creative talent behind him in order for him to deliver the goals that you actually want. So Xavi Simons and Naipan are some of the players you could see at the Emirates Stadium in the profile of attacking midfielders. Now, I don't want to say that because we're signing new players, everyone is going to lose their position in the squad or role in the squad. I think we're just adding quality and not rebuilding our attack. And therefore, I think these players are going to keep their attacking positions and attacking importance in the squad. Saka, I think, is irreplaceable. And I don't think Arsenal are going out in the summer to really find a replacement for Saka. We could get a backup as well. Maybe Ethan Nwaneri drops back into midfield. But at the moment, I think Saka will stay as our right winger for the upcoming seasons. Kai Havertz as well. I think Kai might drop to the bench. He might become a backup striker. But I kind of feel like he's one of those players that are going to be important for Mikel Arteta come next season as well, regardless of who's going to be signed at centre forward. And Ethan Nwaneri too, he has shown that he's a very, very good player at the age of 18. He's really matured very well. I don't expect him to be thrown away just because a bunch of players have been signed. But what are Arsenal adding and what are we getting and why is it scary for rival fans? Why should rival fans be prepared for Arsenal next season? Because this season it's been a cursed one. First and foremost, we are going to be adding pace. In Nico Williams, Victor Gyokerez, that is pace. Of course, we already have the likes of Gabriel Martinelli, a player with raw pace, and Bukayo Saka. Now imagine having Nico Williams and Victor Gyokerez. One of the things that I've seen about people analyzing Victor Gyokerez, and I've loved it, is he will help Arsenal in beating mid-blocks. Let me explain. So with teams like Fulham and Newcastle and Aston Villa, whenever they play against Arsenal, they set up in the middle of the park, trying to stop those passing patterns and trying to make sure that they're not so deep in their own half. And that's why Arsenal really, really struggle, because even if you go past their midfield, there is still a long distance between their defensive block in the middle of the park and the goal. And that's why we really struggle. Now, when you add players like Victor Gyokerez, that is a problem solved. How? Victor Gyokerez is one of the very, very quick and very fastest players in modern football. Right now, as a striker, he loves running onto the ball. And with players like Martin Odegaard, I was about to say Jorginho, but players like Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice, they've got that passing range, and they've got the technique, and they've got the tactical and technical ability to find a runner like Victor Gyokerez. So don't be surprised for Victor Gyokerez to come in, and all of a sudden, Arsenal have not added a Phil Foden or Arsenal have not added a Santiago Cazorla, but now we can beat mid-blocks. Mid-blocks are beaten when you have willing runners that have got enough pace but also believe in themselves. Now, one of the goals that we have seen Victor Gyokerez score a lot for Sporting Lisbon is that goal, where he's literally miles away from goal. They're building up, and then they play that ball over the top, or they play it through the lines, and he runs onto it and finishes with either finesse or a lot of power. So that's the first thing that Arsenal are going to be getting. Pace, raw pace, but also controlled pace. From a player like Gyokerez, I think you're getting that kind of burst of pace. And with a player like Nico Williams, you're signing a player like Doku. You're signing a player like Savinho. They've got controlled pace. They don't just run for the sake of running. They've got a lot of technical abilities as well. But they're just quick. They're just too fast. And if you're playing a team that is a little bit sluggish, a team that is a little bit lazy, you're going to catch them out. So that's the first thing you're getting by signing Nico Williams and the likes of Gyokerez. You're getting raw pace. And this means that our counter-attacks will change. Our transitions will change as well. I mean, we've been complaining about Odegaard. Oh, he slows us down. The reason as to why he's been slowing us down is when you're Martin Odegaard and you're on the ball, you need runners. You need 3 players that are willing to make runs. It has only been Saka or at times Gabriel Martinelli. So now, when you have Nico Williams running, and you have Saka running, and you have Gyokerez running, you have 3 passing options. And of course, you have the likes of Declan Rice that are willing and able to provide those support runs every single time. That's the first thing that I think Arsenal are going to change. And teams are not ready for that raw pace that are going to be adding. Imagine, replacing Havertz with Gyokerez. That is blistering pace. And then you replace Trossard with Williams. That is, again, blistering pace as well. The other thing that Arsenal have not had this season that we are adding, and people will be excited about this, is goals. Goals. Victor Gyokerez himself has scored 40 goals in all competitions this season, but he scored 40 goals in all competitions last season as well. So we are adding goals. To all, with all due respect and to give credit that where it's deserved, Kai Havertz has done well as a player. I mean, you're not a striker. You've been summoned by a manager, and you've done it. He's been Arsenal's leading top scorer this season, and if not for the injury, he could have done even better. And Mikel Merino, although he's not a striker as well, he has also responded very well to the Call of Duty. But guys, that doesn't change that Arsenal don't have a striker. It doesn't change. Ever since Mikel Arteta has been at Arsenal for 5 years now, he has spent about 56 million euros only on a striker. And that was on Gabriel Jesus. And that tells you everything you need to know about why goals are scarce. I've already said that when you don't have a striker and when you do not have players that are dedicated to getting goals, you're going to struggle. Yes, Arsenal are good at scoring set pieces, corners, free kicks and headers and all that. But you need a department that is obsessed and tasked with scoring goals. We don't have that. So that's the other thing that Arsenal are going to be getting. If you've seen Nico Williams for Spain, you will have realized that he scores a lot of goals. If you have seen Victor Gyokerez, you will have realized that he scores a lot of goals too. And if you've watched Bukayo Saka for the last 3 years, one thing stands out about Saka. He scores goals. He's reliable, but he scores goals. So when you think about that, Arsenal are going to be getting goals from different players and goals from different places. And this is what I mean. Mikel Arteta is a big fan of spreading the goals out, right? Trossard 5, Saka 15, Odegaard 15, and all that. But when you have a front 3 that is tasked with looking for goals, you have more players whose task is we've got to score than players that are on the pitch and they're like, If I get a chance, I'll score, but it really isn't my job. So that's one thing I love about it, that we have different profiles now that are going to be searching for goals, and we are going to be scoring different goals from different sources and different types of goals as well. I mean, Gyokerez shoots a lot from the penalty area. Osaka shoots a lot outside the penalty area, and then you have the likes of Williams and the likes of Trossard that will also love to shoot outside the penalty area. And then you have headers from the likes of Gabriel and Merino and Kai Havertz. We have tall players that allow us that aerial ability in the air, and you have short players but have a lot of technical abilities that will allow you shoot on the ground. So goals are going to come in, and we are going to be getting them from different sources and different types. But also, we are getting a reliable goal source. This is something that Manchester City worked on when they signed Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland's bad season is like 27 goals. Like, when he scores 27 goals, we're like, he's had a bad season. He's had a bad season. 27 goals. When we had the likes of Olivier Giroud, they were scoring 17, they were scoring 11, they were scoring 13 goals, and we were like, we've got a number 9, Olivier Giroud, and he's scoring 17 goals. Now, players like Salah, players like Erling Haaland, they give you a guaranteed goal source. And that is what Victor Gyokerez will provide Arsenal with. And that's why I think teams are really going to struggle with him, especially teams that want to play a low block against Arsenal. When you have that fox in the box just trying to tear your defenders apart, it isn't easy for you to stay as calm as teams have been in a low block, in a compact shape, near your goal against Arsenal. And then creativity. This is something I've been talking about all season. Arsenal are not creating enough. Arsenal need a bit of creativity. And I kind of feel like my worries have been hard, and a solution is being targeted. Sane, Nipan, Xavi Simons, Williams, depending on whoever we're going to sign, the creativity in this team is going to rise. Now, I don't want to say that we don't create. I want to say we don't create enough. That's it. The corners, the free kicks, that's okay. That's all right. That's one single source of goals. But can we create others? On the left wing, I've already said that Arsenal do not have that kind of soccer player. That's kind of soccer profile. And we've already said, can we define another attacking profile that is not Bukayo Saka? So if you have Williams on the left-hand side, you're sure you're the guy that is going to be creating chances off the left. And Saka, no question about him, he's going to create chances off the right as well. In the middle, that's where our problem has been. We've got very talented players on the ball. Jorginho, Partey, Odegaard, Merino, Rice. But who of these players really goes, okay, I'm just going to create 2 good chances in this game? Most of them are happy to keep the ball and pass it around and around and around and around and around. I'm not having a go at my players. I'm just saying that the creativity in this team needs to rise, especially by adding a bit of flow to the left back and right back channels, adding a good player in terms of a 10 in that midfield, and also just making sure that our wingers can create and they have someone to create for. So I think when you look at the options we're looking at, Nipan is a 10, Sane is a 10, and Xavi Simons is a 10 too. Though these players can add to the level of creativity, and that will add to the level of goals that we score. I think when you think about the creativity that we are targeting here, I think Arsenal's attacking threat will kind of become effective. I don't want to say it will increase because we always corner teams in their own halves, in their own penalty areas. But it just feels like we are not doing enough to break them down. And I think if you added a player like Sane, if you added a player like Xavi Simons, that is what would change. Our final third efforts are going to be a little bit more lethal, and they're also going to have less pressure on Martin Odegaard. That's what I think. The other thing that Mikel will be getting, and the other thing that Arsenal fans will get to see, is rotation options. Listen to this. Saka pairs up with Nwaneri. So Nwaneri comes off, Saka comes on, or Saka comes off, Nwaneri comes on. Then you have Williams, Martinelli, and Trossard on the left. You have Victor Gyokerez, Gabriel Jesus, and Kai Havertz through the middle as strikers. And in the 10, you have Odegaard, Sane, and Xavi Simons. I mean, it's options. And what have we been crying out for, especially Mikel in his press conferences in January? We don't have options. We lack a few qualities to take us to the next level. And one of those qualities is having the room to maneuver within your squad. If I don't play Nwaneri today, maybe this game it isn't for a player like Nwaneri. Maybe this game isn't a player for like Nico Williams. Maybe it's a Trossard profile that you need. Maybe it's an Odegaard profile that you need in the 10. Maybe it's a Xavi Simons profile that you need at the right wing. Mikel is certainly going to be able to do that. But there will be some casualties. I mean, any changes that happen at any institutions and any positions, they're going to have casualties. And at least I think will be the casualties of this new attack. Leandro Trossard, there are more talks about us selling him than him staying. Now, for me this summer, I would keep him. And I think that the new sporting director in Andre Bata will keep him as well. But not for long. I kind of feel like Trossard might have to see his minutes reduced drastically with Gabriel Martinelli and Nico Williams, who are younger and have longer futures at Arsenal, starting ahead of him and getting more minutes. I think Gabriel Martinelli's minutes will also reduce drastically because Mikel Arteta struggles with rotation. He's one of those managers that will play Nico Williams, Saka and Gyokerez for 30 games straight. I'm not lying. So I think Martinelli's role and minutes might reduce drastically if we get Nico Williams and also Ethan Nwaneri. Nwaneri has played very well in that kind of Saka backup role, but Saka is a machine. This guy never picks up injuries. I mean, he did pick up the recent one that we have been missing him for 100 days. But apart from that, he plays with knocks. He's always there. I kind of feel like Nwaneri, I don't see Odegaard drop out of the starting 11. I don't want Odegaard to be substituted as much. Unless Arsenal are going to use Nwaneri as an attacking midfielder, entirely a 10, he might have to suffer some as one of the casualties to this new attack. Hit that button, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll chat.